if you want to grow, you better go. And that's where your fellow colleagues in the gospel come into place. That one man ministry, and I teach our church this, one man ministry is not enough to develop the saints into what they need to be in God. You need other folks' ministries, just like I said in the board meeting, that listen, when I bring these people around, I know what you stand for, I know what you stand for. They don't change because they need to hear it coming from a different voice. And so that's where we're all important at, that when you bring your people around or whatever, you actually helping me to develop them. Because I don't care how great a dynamic speaker you think you are, your ministry alone is not enough to bring them people to where they need to be in God. And that's why fellowship is so important. And like you just stated, Bishop Cooper, that the enemy with this pandemic, he used that to separate everybody. And a lot of this stuff fell to the ground. Let me tell y'all a true story. I told Dr. Green in Houston, I said, Dr. Green had a beautiful, strong church. She had a lot of beautiful young ladies in her church. And I was talking to her about coming into the organization. And I said, Dr. Green, I said, well, when you going to join up? Baby, I'm a little bit too old to be doing all that running and stuff. I love Bishop Boone. And every time Bishop Boone came to Houston, she came. The choir sang, big, strong church. She raised up a church in an era where women better not even look like they got anointed to sing real good. But she raised up a great church in that area. But I was trying to warn her that, look, Dr. Green, you have young ladies coming in behind you, and you need to get them in an environment where that they could at least make themselves presentable for a husband. She wouldn't listen. She called me back to come preach an anniversary or something. And I went, and I had, been fellowshipping for years now. And I'm looking around, where's Sister So? Oh, that devil, that devil that left, that happened. I'm like, what Sister So-and-so? Where you, Sister Patton? Oh, that devil went married somebody in the Baptist church. You know what I did? I stopped her and I told her. I said, Dr. Green, this on you. She's like, huh? What you talking about? Bishop, I don't let people come to my church and rebuke me. I said, no, I'm going to tell you the truth. You can tell you how you want to take it. I said, this is on you. Remember when I was trying to warn you and tell you that you need to put these people in the environment? There's certain things that don't bother you that was bothering them. And now you want to call them the devil because you didn't help them by putting them in an environment where they could find somebody safe. And so she lost a lot of members to folk, even one to a Jehovah's Witness.
When God sent me to ministry, the prayer I prayed was Solomon's. He said, give therefore thy servant the wisdom. Wisdom is an awesome thing because wisdom is going to utilize and direct the knowledge. Knowledge, you get it by applying yourself, study. But wisdom gonna tell knowledge, so this is the time to do it, and this is the time not to do it. That's wisdom. The next thing is take vacations, and tell me to take vacations. Because I no quicker than I get out of that yard on that highway, God starts talking.
Yes, sir.
It never fails.
Exactly right.
Vision, he broadened my vision, everything. Yes. I'm like, wow. But I'm listening because I'm not running and ripping and running here and there. I got to do this, just can't wait. But when I get on that road, he said, I got you. And he started talking. Take vacation, take time off. Yeah. Retreat, get back off the subject where you can see what's going on in the subject. There's something that would help our church to grow and be more effective in your ministry. Be around people. If I was going out for the play balls and the pros, I probably want to play with somebody like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, because I can't do nothing but get better. A lot of folks like to get around people where they feel comfortable. That might not be good. No. And it's all right. I love everybody. My son, I love everybody, Daddy. I said, all right. I said, but what it is, you have to get around people that has vision. And there's nothing wrong. And don't be afraid to take information. We don't have all the answers.
That's right.
And people, and I see that a lot. People, I don't want nobody to tell them anything. Well, you probably gonna get stagnated. I like being around people, and especially old people.
Oh, yeah.
Rehoboam took over when King Solomon died. He asked, he said, what shall I do? What I need to do to lead these peoples? They said, look, get counseling from the old men. Because he did something, Jeroboam. Jeroboam, he's a young man. And they can only take you so far. But these old men,
That's right.
he said, if you do that, they'll be with you forever. They'll undergird you. When them folk come in your office and on Sunday morning, you train them, you train that armor bearer, you train them deacons, and they'll take care of it. And they'll know how to take care of it. They're not going to hurt nobody's feeling. They said, well, we're going to get back. Bishop will talk to you. Just he don't really like to talk, but they know how to do it. You get your peoples in place, and they take care of it. But you don't need to be talking to everybody just before you have to preach. That's not a good fit. But train your people, and I won't leave it alone. I was thinking, I had talked to Bishop Boone a few years ago, and I was in my mind to do a ministry of training and teaching. And we was going to do it out of Gatlinburg, up at Park Vista, up on the hill. And I could just see brothers coming in, put just casual. You don't need no time. We going to work just to teach and to teach. And we need that. We need that for our ministry. While we can be more effective.
That's right.
Pastors, ministers conference. That's what it's saying. Teach. Get up in the morning, teach. Get lunch, go back. We might have nicer, but we ain't worried about all that shouting and going on. It's all right, but it's good in its place. I'm just saying, if we'll do that, we'll have people ready. We got another year and a half. Somebody gonna have to get ready to step in the saddle, get in the saddle.
That's right.
And if we don't do it now, I'm telling you, I think about these things. I can't train you to be a bishop. I can't train you to be a pastor. But there are certain things that we can train you to gonna help you when you get there. And so it is. It's really vital that we do some of these things. But take vacations, pastors. Let God talk to you, and He will talk to you. He talks to me on my ride more. My wife will come out and say, dinner's ready, and I'll put my head down and keep moving. So God's talking. And it's amazing how God can, all that racket, but I can hear everything He says. It's amazing. Wow.
You speak my language, Bishop.
Yeah, it ministers to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The response was so grand. He really was very good, but he wasn't saying nothing that haven't been saying for years. But because it was a different voice coming from Brother Turner, he was just, whoa, I mean, he was just, they were blessed. And the same way with our annual, we had District Elder Rogers came from Sandusky, where are you from? Pontiac, Michigan, during our anniversary. We only had one day. And the people came because they just want to hear another voice. And I learned from Bishop Booker years ago, he said, no matter how you preach and what you preach, another voice gonna make a difference. And so we have to be open to have, from time to time, having someone else come and share with your people, because we cannot do it all.
That does help.
We can't. That's why we have evangelists and teachers and the fivefold ministry. We have that so that we can perfect the saints. We cannot just as pastors perfect, but you need all of the ministries coming together to perfect the saints of
right.
God.
You know, Dr. Grant, isn't it awkward sometimes, though, and I'm not talking just, I'm talking to everybody about this question, but sometimes you bring somebody else in, a different voice,
Yeah.
and they preach on the same thing you just preached about last
That's
week.
true.
And you'll see people getting up doing cartwheels.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody that do cartwheels. Oh, thank you, Jesus. What an anointed word. And the difference is, there's something about when the pastor preached that, the pastor's preaching that for accountability.
Yes.
The evangelist is coming in preaching it for inspiration.
That's
And
right.
there's a difference between the two.
That's
And
right.
so, but you know, that stuff doesn't bother you. You know it doesn't bother you. It's like water off a duck's back. You just say, Lord, just save them, Lord. One of the reasons I think that pastors burn out and burn up, for that matter, is that sometimes they end up literally doing everything. I mean, you're maybe the praise leader, musician, janitor. I mean, you're doing everything. And all of us have been there. We've done everything at some point. But at some point, if you have capable people that can do those things, that save and live in the life of God, then shame on you.
Amen.
Shame on you. Because,
Bishop,
yes.
if you don't mind, I
Yes,
just get back to that assistant pastor.
Uh-huh.
And I think sometimes the way we word things,
Uh-huh.
I don't per se have assistant pastor, I have associate ministers.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And the reason is because I already know what's going to happen. I'm the assistant pastor, I'm next in line.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, you might not be in line. And so I have associate ministers. And I use the associate minister for certain things. And yeah,
I got you. And again, we call them different names these days, but that's why I just kind of threw it out there generically. But really, the whole impetus behind this question is to figure out, are we really there's this old expression about many hands make light work. So if you can get more hands doing some things that you don't necessarily have to touch, it kind of helps you. It gives you a little bit more time, and that little extra time help. It really does in trying to manage the church. You know, the church is an interesting thing because it's a small business. I know it used to be taboo to say the church is a business. Ooh, the church. But the church is a small business. It just happened to be under the kingdom of God umbrella and not in the secular sense. We work for the Lord. But it's a small business. You're trying to keep everything going. At one time, there's sometimes deadlines, there's bills, there may be payroll, there's staff, all this stuff you do. This is what we do. And we walk around here sometimes not recognizing you're running a small business and wondering why you got headaches and sleepless nights. Because it's a lot of undertaking. So you can be proud in that respect, but at the same time, it always represents opportunity. Opportunity, how can we get better? Because I think Bishop Walton hit this a minute ago, is that if you're not always kind of thinking of what's the next thing, God, where would you have us? And it's not always just that you asking you. You got to ask God about this stuff. Lord, what's next for us? How do we go from here to here? How do we do this, develop this, and so on and so forth? All of those things we have to do, it's required upon us to do it.